The third part of your objectives and assessment assignment paper is going to be the assessment instruments. And the first disclaimer that you see here is that when the book talks about the word test, it is not using it to equal an objective test. So remember, there are many different kinds of tests. Some are criterion reference, objective, multiple choice, match, true false tests, and others are performance tests where people are asked to perform a process or a task or an activity, and somebody is observing how they do it and checking things off a checklist or rating things with a rating scale or rubric. Or there's also a product that people are required to do, and that product is also checked with either a checklist or a rubric. So the components for this section are going to be the assessment plan and the design evaluation chart. The first part is the assessment plan, and here you're going to be describing the entry skills assessment, the pre-tests, your practice tests, and the post-tests. And for the entry skills assessment, just remember that it may not be necessary, but if it isn't necessary, you have to justify your decision. I don't want to go into your paper, find that there's nothing about an entry skills assessment, because I don't know if it is that it's not necessary or if you forgot. And so you will not get points for that. It is fine to say I don't need this type of test, but you just have to say why. For the pre-test, again, it may not be necessary. If it is not necessary, put in your justification. And remember that this one might be combined with the entry skills assessment, and that's fine. For practice tests, you may have more than one, and so you need to identify each with a unique name so that we know what you're talking about. For the post-test, this one is going to be required, so you always have to have a post-test even if you don't have entry skills or pre-tests. But if it is identical to the pre-test, just say so, you don't have to describe it again. For each assessment type, then you will give me some basic information. So you're going to give me the name of the test for practice tests, which you probably have more than one. The type of assessment that you're doing, if it is an online self-report survey, if it is a completion of a written task, if it is an objective test, whatever the type is. The knowledge, skills, and or dispositions that it will assess. In other words, the content that it will include. And that doesn't need to be in detail, just basically a general overview. The sections, if you're going to break down that test into different sections because you wouldn't want to organize the sections per objective, or you want to organize the sections per type of item, just tell me if you're going to have sections on that test, the number of questions in each section or on the assessment, and the types of the questions. So it's a multiple choice, it's going to be true false, it's going to be a performance task. How it will be administered, is it going to be a paper and pencil, is it going to be online, or is it going to be just a performance that somebody's going to be observing in person? And when it will be administered, during what segment of the workshop, at the beginning, before the beginning, after this particular section of the workshop, at the end, whatever it is. For this assignment, you do not need to include the actual instruments, but just the descriptions, including the items that I've listed here. You will have to have the instruments ready for your final group project assignment, but not for this assignment. Then the next piece is going to be the design evaluation chart. And for this one, we're going to have a table that's going to be similar to the one that you entered for the objectives, except it's going to have an additional column, which is the test item column. So what you can do is you can copy and paste the table from the objectives, paste it here, add the third column, and write your test items here. Again, use the same numbering system as the goal, subordinate, and entry skills analysis, so that these items are organized by the hierarchy. If it is an instructional step, just use a single digit number. If it is a subordinate skill or entry skill step, you start using the 2-digit numbering systems that you see here. In the assignment requirements document, you'll see that there's a recommendation for you to see the table 7.5, which provides ideas on how to write that table. So you have on the left column the objectives, and then on the next column you have the test items that you're designing for each particular objective.